Sacha Williams is one of yachting's best known and most successful charter managers, so it was no surprise when recently she joined Northrop Johnson to become Global Charter Marketing Director. We took a few moments to talk with her about her experience. So Sacha Williams, great to have you here. Welcome to Northrop Johnson.
Thank you.
Let's start with how you got into the yachting business in the first place.
Well, I was living in the south of France, teaching English to children, and it was a chance encounter I had with a captain and deckhand of a beautiful boat in Saint-Tropez, and they told me all about this exhilarating life they led. Piqued my interest, and as luck would have it, they had a job going for someone just like me, and so that is how I started working and traveling all around the Mediterranean on a beautiful little Ferretti.
Oh, okay.
And there were four crew, and so we were kept very, very busy.
What were you doing? Stewardess,
yeah. Sole stew. They had a chef as well. Lovely family that we worked for. And they travelled very, very well. I mean, we went as far as Tunisia, went to Greece, around Corsica and Sardinia, I don't know how many times, up and down Italy, Sicily. So, yeah.
How long were you working on board there for?
You would think several years, but no.
Yeah, with that kind of itinerary.
It was from April through till October. And then I had to go back to Wales to finish my degree.
What was the degree?
French and Italian.
Oh, Italian.
So I'd had a bit of practice all summer.
So you went back to Wales.
Yeah.
Finished your degree, presumably then returned to the south of France?
Yes, because I had met a Frenchman, so I couldn't convince him to move to the south of Wales. So we moved to the south of France instead. And again, as luck would have it, I saw a job for a commercial assistant, and it was working for another well-known yachting company called Edmiston. So I worked there for their brokerage team for 2.5 years.
What was your role there?
So brokerage coordinator, so supporting them in prospecting, in managing their clients, the relationships, all of the paperwork to do with the yacht sales, the marketing themselves as well as the yachts. It's a lot of networking that you need to do. And from there, they offered me the job as head of the charter management team.
If I can stop you there and we take a step back, because on the surface it sounds to me like that's a huge jump from teaching English to children, then effectively not even 1 year on board a yacht, and all of a sudden you're the assistant to the brokers of a large brokerage firm. Looking back, do you feel like you were well prepared for that?
Yes, because I've been working from my mid-teens. I've always liked having money, so always working, right? And I've had quite diverse work experience. So I've worked in fashion PR, I've worked in door-to-door sales, I've worked in telesales, I've worked obviously in teaching on and off, either teaching English or French, and also in logistics. And I think all of that experience combined means that you're ready for anything. They're all unpredictable, quite diverse, and can be quite stressful environments.
Yeah. What sort of things did the brokers have you doing for them as their assistants?
Prospecting, so cold calling offices that we found, online, and then I would have to try and set up, get them meetings, dealing with keeping all of their paperwork in order, making sure that the yachts were being marketed correctly, so making sure that we had a diverse portfolio of marketing for those accounts. Even to optimizing their Facebook and LinkedIn profiles, really the whole gamut.
So you learnt Photoshop on that
occasion. Oh yeah, we did some great things with Photoshop, yeah.
So then you must have done a great job because they invited you to be involved with the charter management. And what was your next role in that company?
So the next role was they had an established charter fleet. It was just after the crash. So things had been a little bit rocky for everyone, but especially for, the charter fleet. And my job was to come in and oversee the team. So managing a few yachts myself, but primarily looking at how we could optimize performance, put some structure in place, and boost revenue, both, obviously for the owners, but indirectly to the company as well. Also leveraging those relationships for the company.
So in practical terms, you were talking, I guess, to captains, owners.
Yes.
And on a day-to-day basis, what would your job entail?
Well, captains, owners, depending on the size and the complexity of the yacht, owners, PAs, family offices, and so on. There were some days that were never ending. If you had, bearing in mind we were in Monaco, if you had clients in LA and they'd be organising conference calls at 11 o'clock at night. So, it was a long day. Plus the fact that my day-to-day was twofold. I had my own fleet to manage, which comprises of making sure that all of the information that we put out there on the yacht's availability, the specifications, information on the crew is 100% accurate, because things move like that. So everything's got to be 100%. And then being fully available, because of course nobody wants to wait for an answer. So being ready and available at any time of the day when brokers call you and want to know if that boat's available, if it has XYZ, and if the owner's ready to commit. So you need to have all of those answers ready. They haven't got time for people checking and I'll come back to you, because they may have already booked something else.
Sure.
And then on top of that, so my night job was then restructuring the department. So looking at how we could allow for people to have some downtime, putting in place a back-to-back system so that owners and their teams got seamless support. And so that the people looking after their businesses could also have a bit of time off from time to time, because this business is relentless.
Never ending, yes.
Exactly.
Absolutely never ending. So from that brokerage, from Edmiston, you then went to another brokerage?
That's right. So after 5.5 years with Edmiston, Camper & Nicholson's asked me if I would like to join their team. And I saw that at the time it was really ripe for, ready for the kind of value that I could bring to their team. So again, looking at, they had some very, very strong individual performers, and looking at how we could coach them and get everyone working better together as a team. And so we grew the fleet significantly, also revenue, really looked at building the fleet up. So looking at those non-performing yachts, whether or not we were the right fit for them, because this service, as you know, it's very expensive. It's excellent value for money, and in fact, charter marketing. And
but there are some owners that actually don't really want to charter the yachts that much, as my understanding is.
Yeah, and so, it's identifying the needs of each owner, because there's some owners that need, very aggressive marketing strategy, and there's others who are quite happy just to have their picture on the website, and, but these days things have changed a lot since, I started at Camper & Nicholson's almost 10 years ago. Now at Northrop Johnson, but in that decade, things have changed significantly. We've had to pivot from, account managers, marketeers because marketing became so much more sophisticated, to getting to know tax and all of the fiscal concerns that charter yacht owners can have. To these days the KYC, doing the due diligence on who is coming on board. We've always qualified clients, of course, but now it's far more thorough, as you know. So there's a whole host of things that you take into consideration to provide a good service to owners these days.
So your experience, especially in charter marketing, has been really extensive. The context of this video, as you know, is that it's the International Women's History and Social Work Month in March, with March the 8th being International Women's Day. And so my question to you is, over your career, has it been a disadvantage to be a woman? Has it been an advantage? And if so, what were the disadvantages and the advantages, if any?
I've never ever found it a disadvantage. Although, as you mentioned, it's something just pops into my mind. When I first started working in yachting, shore-based, there was a broker that said to me, you know, what do you want to do in yachting? Why are you here? And I said, oh, maybe one day I'll be a broker. And he said, you can't be a broker, you're a woman. So that set me on my, you know, trajectory to, I'll show him. And but quite honestly, it's never really been a consideration for me, because I don't see things in that way. I see that everyone, man, woman, can add value, and it's just up to each individual to know what is it that you can bring to the table, and making sure that everybody else knows what that is, and then the right path should appear. It's also about taking every opportunity as it comes and not being scared to put yourself forward.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because earlier when I told you that I'd be asking the question about what advice you have for young females who want to get into the business, what was your answer to me about that?
Well, my answer would be, it's not about being a young woman or man. I think my advice would be the same to anybody, regardless of their, you know, gender. It's just go for it. Take every single opportunity. Know your worth. Every single person has some value to bring. So it's just important that, you know, you work on your self-awareness and how you can bring more to the team. Yeah,
it's really interesting. You're the third person that we've interviewed for this series of interviews, and something that's really come out is that every single one of the people that we've interviewed have had that get up and go to get up and go. You went to the south of France, you went for the interviews. When you heard of an inspirational job, you went out there and you took the opportunity. And you know, how many people perhaps are just dreaming at home and never actually really go for it to make things happen.
Yeah.
But also something that Annie Avery said earlier was that she felt that for her it always held her back because she didn't feel fully qualified to do something. In the case of being a charter manager or in charter marketing, is there any real qualifications that you can get to do that job?
Qualifications, you need to be, it's more about your attitude. It's more about your organization skills. It's about being a resilient kind of, you know, individual, resourceful as well. You've got to be curious, because there is so much to learn and to want to keep learning. And you've got to love people, because that is our business. We want to create exceptional experiences for the people coming on board the yachts. We want to create an exceptional service for the yacht owners. We want to make sure that they fully enjoy their asset, that we take as many of the headaches away from them as possible. And of course, in this industry, it's all about the people and the trust that we all put in each other. So I think, you know, going back to my earlier point about being self-aware and knowing where you can add value.
Excellent. Words of wisdom. From Sacha Williams.
I hope.
Thanks, Sacha.
Okay, thank you.